welcome to the Businesses Start Here podcast. I am your host, Dave Villiotti, founder and owner of Villiotti Associates, a full-service accounting and consulting business. Today we have my favorite guest ever by default on the podcast. It's my wife. So we talk about how she got from wanting absolutely nothing to do with entrepreneurship to involvement in our business to now she's consulting with other businesses and helping them start their businesses. So my wife, Alicia Villiotti, is our guest today. Stick around. She'll be on shortly after our intro, and you're going to learn a lot about some of the things that we went through to get this business started and where we can help you. Thanks. We'll see you in a minute.
Welcome to the Businesses Start Here podcast, hosted by David Villiotti and Villiotti Associates. We're here to talk with business owners and business experts to inspire and encourage entrepreneurs.
So why don't you tell us how you got to where you are and what you're doing now?
Well, you're not going to say who you are?
I'm doing the intros before now.
Oh.
I'm doing them separate.
Oh.
So we can have a conversation before it gets into that. You just ruined it.
What do you mean?
So I record the intros separately so I can talk a little bit about what happened in the podcast.
Okay. I don't know.
It's okay. We're learning. We're growing.
Okay.
I
Let's
have to
try
edit
that.
so much out of this.
Let's try that again.
You put all of this in?
No, I have to cut it off.
Well, so far we're almost at 2 minutes
One
that need half an
Okay.
So now that you're in the right frame of mind, why don't you tell us about how you got to where you are and what you're doing now?
Well, I met you in high school.
Oh boy, you're going all the way back there.
Well, that's where the entrepreneur stuff started.
It's true.
Like, you have always wanted to own a business.
All right.
There's been many different types of businesses. Ideas, yes. Over the years, but that is the first time that I was exposed to somebody that wanted to own a business, and I hated everything about that idea. I think the consistency and predictability are things that I like.
Yeah.
A lot. And there's none of that in entrepreneurship, so I didn't want anything to do with it. But I also knew that people usually just talk a big game and don't do it, so I was like, okay, whatever. But then fast forward, several years into our marriage, and you started
It happened.
to take steps, and I'm like, wait a minute. But we had young kids, and I think I still was able to separate myself from the actual terror of starting a business and becoming totally reliant on yourself for your income. But seeing you go through the journey and starting to have conversations about strategy and planning and all of that, I realized that entrepreneurship actually very much fits my personality with planning and strategizing and even wanting structure as much as possible. Fits very much with my skills and my abilities and interests and all of that. So I became slowly more involved in even just conversations at home about the business. We still had little kids, so I couldn't do a lot other than talk. But I started to realize the possibility of the benefit of entrepreneurship versus the possibility of risk. Not that it eliminated the risk, but the possibilities for it just opened a whole new world of possibility that And that became more appealing to me than the risk was scary, I think.
And if you do it the right way, the risk can be significantly mitigated.
Yeah.
Right.
And I think a lot of what I bring to the table is that. Like the structure and the planning and all of that is how you avoid as much of the risk as possible. So I think me not liking the risky part of it also stirs me to do better in the planning and executing.
Yeah, and the statistics are real where it's basically 20% of businesses survive past 5 years. I think that's the number. But I think with the right structure and assistance up front, that number is significantly decreased or increased, I guess, the survival rate.
Yeah.
Because people who try to do it on their own that are only good at, not only good at, but their strength is in the doing of whatever their business is
Right.
and not running the business, need someone to help them
Yeah.
with the running of the business, or at least getting them started.
Yeah. And the earlier you put structure in place, the better.
Yeah, and that's something we work. I'm not a structure person. I like it. I don't like to stay in it.
Right.
But I want it for the business. But especially as we started, we didn't have the ability to put structure in place. It was just me flying by the seat of my pants.
Right.
And we paid a price for that. We're still paying a price for that.
Yeah.
But we're putting stuff in place now that is significantly changing. Since you started as our operating officer in January, we're light years ahead of where we were as far as structure. And I mean, we're able to do more with less than we were in December.
Yeah. I think structure to people that their brains don't operate that way seems scary and seems limiting and seems hard, and it does take time and it does take effort, but like you said, it has expanded our capacity and what we're able to do.
Right. It's kind of like what we say about budgeting. Like you have the same amount of time or same amount of money no matter if you put it on paper or not, but if you put it on paper, you're going to be able to see that you have X left over if you quit spending it on stupid stuff.
Right.
And we do the same thing with our time. Like we spend our time on stupid stuff that doesn't really advance the business. So so putting that structure in place just helps you allocate the process is mostly your time. I mean, really, it's a time thing.
Yeah.
Because everybody, the key to business is doing more with the resources you have.
Right.
And that's where structure comes in. It exponentially grows your capacity.
Yeah. So my transition out of stay-at-home mom conversations with you at home has been kind of the second part of my journey. So I feel like the conversations allowed me to embrace the entrepreneurship, and it didn't have to be this little thing that, you know, that was your thing, you know, it became our thing. And so about 2.5 years ago, I wrote my book, and we just rebranded it.
Yeah.
I don't know if you can see it, but and the process of writing this book really solidified in me how much I had learned, because my education is not
You were
anything
an
near
assistant physical therapist.
Yeah, I worked in the physical therapy, occupational therapy, children's therapy world until I stayed home with kids.
This is great training for business.
Yeah. If you can manage kids, you should hopefully manage adults.
Yeah.
But the book is really, it's 30 sections.
It's very well structured.
There's a lot of structure to it. Practical steps taking a business idea to being able to actually execute that idea. And in writing the book, I think I was able to realize how little actually I had to research, because I had picked up on so much from just doing it with you. And so I wrote the book and then kind of put it on the shelf because I still wasn't working. I was still at home. But from there, we kind of started to think about what would it look like for me to come in to the business. And in December, I guess, we decided to really figure that out for January, and what that would look like and how to do it with kids and all that. So in January, I was able to start coming here usually 2 days a week. Both to continue working on the book and what that can look like to help people, but also to help put structure in place.
Yeah, we were your guinea
Here.
pig,
Yeah.
essentially, right? So
Yeah.
I mean, you proved your concept with us and
Yep.
another client that you worked with, but
Yeah, we've kind of been doing it kind of behind the scenes and
Right.
not formally marketing it or offering it.
Right.
But now we're starting to shift the focus to formally offering a
So
program based
what are you
on it.
offering now?
So, we have planned and structured a whole program around the book for entrepreneurs. I think there's been a big shift in our culture.
Mostly people starting a business, right?
Yes.
Not someone who's already in business. They can use it, obviously, but it's
Yeah,
really geared towards.
I think it's something that mostly if you haven't started yet, but I think there's definitely benefit to it if you started and didn't put the structure in place
Right.
from the beginning.
Yeah, it's never too late to go back, obviously, but
Yeah, but our, I guess, target is people who have an idea and don't know where to start. I think that's something a lot of people are toying around with ideas at this point, trying to figure out what they actually want to do instead of just continuing to do what they've been doing. We've seen a massive shift in workforce, which I think everybody has felt at this point. And people are going to settle back in somewhere. And I think a lot of it's going to be new businesses starting.
I think with the change in workforce, I think there's kind of three things-ish that are happening. I think the biggest thing is people are rethinking what they do, how they do it, why they do it, when they do it, everything about what they did to make money. So I think we'll see a lot of people realize they don't want to help someone else become rich, they want to become rich themselves.
Right.
And even like the gig economy is helping with that. So you can become kind of like a micro entrepreneur.
Yeah.
Using someone else's platform to make money. That's kind of not really our where we're like if you're an Uber driver, like you're a business owner technically, but that's not like the structure's already in place. That's not something that we're really we can help a lot with, honestly. But the people that start their own business using their own software, I mean, you can use other software, obviously. We use tons of software here.
Right.
Those are really where we fit. Also, I think a lot of the boomers are just retiring. They're not coming back. They just are out of the workforce.
Yeah.
So I think that's where a lot of the struggle to find employees is, because they're gone and not coming back, and it was a significant number, I think.
Right.
If you could afford it and you were close to the age, which I mean, my dad is the oldest of the boomers. It starts in 1946. He was born in 46. I mean, he's been retired for a while, but he's 75, 76 now. At that age, if you went through COVID 2 years ago, you're probably just done.
Yeah.
So I think I only had two things, not three. So, unless I forgot what the third one was.
Yeah. I think there's a big shift, and I think people have had to get really creative over the last 2 years for every aspect of life, because life as we knew it is gone. And I think that creativity out of necessity helped a lot of people realize that they have it in them, that they have these ideas and they have solutions, and they're not waiting for other people to bring them the solutions anymore. They're ready to do it. So we've structured this program. So the basic structure of it is once a month we'll have a workshop in our offices, various times, various days of the month. So they will be on our website for signing up for those. But that is a general information on starting a business, specifically in Pennsylvania, because that's where we're based. And then from there, some more information on what we can offer them beyond that. And then working with people who choose to go through the program more one-on-one, starting with the 30 sections of the book, which it really hashes out your idea and your plan, and then taking it from that idea and plan and actually executing it. So it's exciting, I think, to give people what I think is a pretty solid tool to go from an idea to having their business. I think it's a world that if you don't have the connections or the people around you doing it, it's kind of gets stuck in that, where do I even start?
Right.
And this is a way to start.
Yeah, and I think it's pretty important to have people around you that have gone through it before. Yeah. And like you said, if you're not in a world where that's common, I mean, stay-at-home moms, you see a lot of attempts at it. Again, kind of in ways using other people's software, in ways that you're still really working for someone else, you're just able to do it from home.
Yeah.
But having people who've gone through it before, have seen the pitfalls and tell you, don't step there's a hole.
Right.
It is important. So I think that's really where the value comes in. You were integral in growing our business. You've, even without having experienced it, you stopped me from falling into some pitfalls, just because you're, the way you think through things is critical. So it's a 60-day program, right? So
yes.
We'll put a link to the monthly meetings in the description of the podcast and the video. So if you want to look at anybody wants to look at those, they can. And then after that, if you want to go to the 60-day program, it's just, we recommend you go into one of these sessions first, just so you get to know us a little bit more. You get to talk to Alicia, and get a chance to really make sure that we're a right fit for you. Because we have said this very often when we plan this. This is not really a program for everybody. We call it, what's the name of the workshop?
Work Your Dream Workshop.
And that was an intentional name, because you have to work. It's not easy being an entrepreneur. It's challenging, but it is fulfilling. Yeah. Beyond anything I've done in business before. But we want people to know up front that it's work. It's not that you come to us with your idea and we run with it for you. Yeah. It's, we help you refine that idea and make sure you're following all the steps you need to get the business started. But you need to put the work in. There's deadlines and homework. Yeah. It's not me sitting there telling you how. Right. It's me telling you need to research this. It's me telling you, what about this? And, so you're very much doing the work, but that's how you refine your idea. Like you said, that's how you figure out your niche. How many other accounting firms are in Pittsburgh, and we had to figure out why we were going to add value to that market. And so it is work, and that's something we want. We put it, like you said, in the name, to just be very upfront that it takes time and it takes work, but it's the people who are willing to do that get to live it. Yeah, and the reason we're very specific about that is we want to work with. Our goal, our purpose is to help people become successful. And you can't do that with someone that's not willing to put in the work. So that's why we're very specific about the challenges that come with this. Yeah. And we're not selling it. We're almost whatever anti-selling would be called. But we're discouraging people unless you are going to put the effort in, don't sign up. Yeah. So. And we've structured it in almost phases. We have the workshop where you kind of just dip your toe in and come talk to us for an evening. It's kind of more of a networky feel than the actual work. So, personalities and our vision for how we do things will be presented, and then the next phase is the 60 days where we actually go through the book and you solidify your idea. And then the next phase beyond that is where we start connecting you with our people, our network of people, and all of that to start doing it. So we've kind of put natural off-ramps into the program, because not everybody that has an idea is going to have a business. Right. How many ideas have I had before we ended up with it? I mean, it was probably 15, 20
Yeah.
ideas. Some of them are successful businesses,
Right.
but just weren't right for us. But there's
Yeah.
there's a lot of ideas out there that are a great idea, but maybe not a business.
Yeah.
And
There, a lot of people, I think their hobby can be business.
right,
And sometimes it can.
yeah,
But I think that's more work. If you,
Mhm.
because you love it and you have a passion for this like little thing, it's harder to get people to buy into hobbies that aren't necessarily something they need.
right,
But I mean, you can do it, and I think that's where the process of what we've built helps people work through. Is this something I really want to put all my eggs in one basket, or do I like a steady paycheck and a
Right.
9-to-5 job, which is fine
Yeah.
because we need people to do that too.
and,
but-
and you can get there with a business, but it's not going to be probably for 5 years on
Right.
average.
Yeah.
Generally, you see struggle, and then you're an overnight sensation after 5 years.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's really
It's
what
true.
happens.
Yeah.
People don't see the challenges; they see the success,
Yeah.
which is part of why we try to caution people
Yeah.
that because what you see from the outside, I'd say it. Any business owner I meet that says something about like people asking them for something, I say it's because you're rich, right? And they just laugh. Because everybody, no matter,
thinks you're an entrepreneur and you're rich.
yeah, they think if you have a business, you have
Yeah.
$1 million sitting in your bank account.
Right.
And it's
Yeah.
for most of the people that we work with small, not SBA definition small. The SBA defines small as $10 million in revenue
Right.
and
Where
less.
like
We're talking. I mean, we have some that have a couple million in revenue, obviously, but I mean, we're talking a lot of people that are making a couple $100,000
Yeah.
before expenses.
Yeah.
And so, not every business owner is rich.
Okay.
You can get there. It's the best way to get there,
Yeah.
but it takes time.
And you also don't get to play golf while somebody else makes you money right from the bat.
Not from the bat.
Either.
That's the goal.
Yeah. And you can get there.
Yeah.
But you have to put in the work.
Right.
But I think it's exciting. I think it's something that, there's pieces of this similar things
Right.
out there, and we're aware of that, but we've kind of packaged it into a program that is more of a tool than
Incubator 2.0.
yes, that's what you wanted to name it. Yeah. So it's exciting to be able to give people the ability to do something that we have come to love.
Yeah, I think the way that we're different from incubators or SBA, SBDC type things, which those are great programs, and I recommend taking advantage of those as much as possible, is they help you to a point, and then you need to go to someone else.
Yeah.
So our goal is to be with you all along the way, from idea through exit.
Yeah.
If you decide to exit. So
Yeah.
because we not only can we help you get started, we can help you with accounting services, with human resources, with marketing, web design, like all IT. So we have a lot of that we offer to our clients. So the goal is really for us to be the place you go if you need anything for business.
Yeah.
From the start through the end.
Yeah.
And I think that's really our differentiator, that we have connections. If you need connections for anything, we have a meeting coming up with some people that could be potential investors for our clients. So
Yeah.
we're looking to line this all up to make it as easy as possible if you put in the work.
Yeah.
So give you the best chance for success by having everything kind of right at your fingertips, and should you choose to use it.
Yeah. And there's a lot of value in that, I think, too. I think two different things that popped into my mind was how many clients have we started working with that didn't have things in place right from the start,
Right.
and how long does it take to get them operating as they could be. But if
Right.
you have support right from the start, put that structure in right from the start, then it puts you
Right.
light years ahead of everybody else that's struggling to figure it all out.
Yeah.
But then also, the other thing that we've seen is people who have maybe switched to us from somebody else, and that onboarding process is not an overnight thing.
Right.
It takes months to switch. So being able to stay with us from idea, like you said, till exit, really, like we can help you with any part of the whole journey.
Right.
You know, a lot of that downtime, that ramp up with a new person time, like it just eliminates
Right.
all of that.
We know you, we know your business
Yeah.
because we started from
Yeah.
seed form, basically. So, yeah, it makes a big difference. And then the other key is, I tell all of our clients this, I'm not nearly as emotionally invested as your company as you are.
Right.
And that's a good thing.
Yes.
Because when you're emotional, you make bad decisions. I can step back, we can step back, and help you see the rational choice.
Yeah.
So that's a huge benefit. Having someone that knows the business as well as you, but doesn't have the emotional connection is a huge benefit, because then we know all of the pieces of information needed to make a decision. It can help you. It's like we said, it's ultimately your decision.
Yeah.
Emotion will overrule more than it probably should, but we can help you look at it from with emotions put aside.
Yeah. There's a different perspective of somebody that still understands
Right.
the ins and outs, which, I mean, we've sought that out in our
Yeah.
growth, because sometimes you need somebody who doesn't feel the weight of every little decision that needs to be made.
We've made bad decisions because we didn't get unbiased input.
Yeah.
You can't be unbiased about your business.
Right, and when you're in the weeds of the
Yeah.
day in and day out, sometimes you don't have time to
Right.
take a step back, and somebody that isn't necessarily in the weeds, but
Right.
they help you through the weeds.
Yeah.
Can kind of offer that perspective. Which
Right.
is valuable.
Anything else you want to share about yourself, our business, the program?
No,
Any
I'm
advice?
just excited. I think this has been, like I said, the book was written 2.5 years ago. It's something we've been working on, working through, working with people to execute parts of it. And then I think, you know, the shift in our culture has really given us a bit of urgency to be able to offer this to people. Because ultimately that's what we care about, is people.
Yeah.
And you know, that's my heart in everything I do.
Right.
Is people, and you know, seeing people able to pursue their dreams and reach their potentials, and all of that is really the heart behind this. And I'm just excited to see people able to do it. And you know, this journey that we've been on has, you know, they call it the entrepreneurial roller coaster. You know, there's highs and lows and, you know, all of that, but ultimately, you know, it's allowed us freedom in our schedule. Like, you know, I think one of the biggest things that reminds me of the value of this is when you're able to like pop out and go to this girls' concerts at school, or, you know, just like, you know, or, you know, somebody's really sick and you're able to work from home for the day, or, you know, just like the flexibility, it just takes the limits off. And I think that's something that is important to offer people.
Yeah. Good.
So, I think that's it.
Cool. Thanks for being on. Thanks for coming to work today.
Yeah, no problem.
And like I said, we'll put the links and everything to everything that we're doing in the description of the podcast and the YouTube video. But please check it out. If you have any thoughts of starting a business, these groups are going to be intimate. I don't think I mentioned that. We're capping the attendance at 16 for these info session workshops. So you'll get some one-on-one time with us. You'll get to meet some other people that are interested in starting a business, and you can kind of start networking before you even start the business. So
and the first one is not till July, so you can get right in at the beginning of this. July 19th. Oh, I should've
It's a Tuesday in July.
whatever that Tuesday is.
It'll be in the link.
Yeah, and the first few, there is a small registration fee
Right.
for those, but the first few are going to be at a discounted rate for people that are willing to jump in at the beginning too.
So check out the links. Thanks to Alicia for being on today. She wasn't super excited about doing it. She was nervous, but she did a great job. If you have any content, anything you want to learn about, any people you think we should have on the podcast, please let us know. We want this to be for you. This podcast is made for people who want to start a business or anywhere along that journey. So if there's any topic or person you want to hear from, leave us a comment letting us know who that is, and we will do our best to get that taken care of. Until next time, thanks. This is Dave with the Businesses Start Here podcast, and we'll see you soon.
Thanks for listening to the Businesses Start Here podcast. We hope you were inspired and encouraged by today's podcast. We would love to hear your feedback. Please send us an email at podcast@villiotti.com. That's podcast@villiotti.com. And be sure to share, like, and comment all of our content.